Hi guys, you're welcome in usaeservice.com. For more management study and latest world news, visit our website usaeservice.com. Today we will discuss about stress management and factors on employee job performance in organizational behavior. Let's start. Stress in job performance is an important process, which enhances the improvement of production and profit. The performance of an employee will be good by applying low stress, since there are no serious problems and disruptions in the smooth functioning of the organization. If employees are squeezed without any need and facilities by high stress, then their performance will reduce. And if employees do not do their work, the mild stress is in such unpleasant situations. Stress can either be helpful or harmful depending on the amount of tension. When there is no stress, job challenges are absent and performance is reduced. As stress increases, performance increases because stress helps the person to call resources to meet job requirements. At this point there is additional stress. Not much improvement. Finally, if the stress becomes too high, the performance of the employee starts to decline because the stress interferes with it. At this stage, one loses the ability to cope and is unable to make decisions, and there uncertainty in the behavior. The logic underlying at low to medium level stress stimulates the body and increases its ability to react. At this stage, an employee's performance becomes better and deeper. Too much stress places unattainable demands on a person, which leads to poor performance. Organizational stressors. Stress can arise due to difficulties encountered in one's own job. If the working condition is not fully utilized, if the job terminates a person completely. One who calls a person a serious person, his role is suppressed under the evils of stress in such situations. Stress affects a person on his right path and gets involved in destructive activities. The four commonly used terms in the literature are stress, tension, conflict, and pressure. Stress reduces the role of the occupant in the role. Occupational stress arising from different job dimensions worsens the mental and physical health of the employee. It makes the employee stressed, depressed, anxious, and emotionally unstable. Levels of stress. The nature of stress consists of high, medium, or low stages. High and low levels of stress are not suited to a person and organization. But there is an optimal level or moderate level of stress for each individual, under which he/she will work to perform the full potential. If the stress is reached below this optimal level, the person is bored, then motivation is required to work. If someone works in a very low stress environment and experiences frequent boredom, the person is likely to be psychologically or physically carefree from work. Psychological will result in carefree mistakes being made frequently, forgetting things, etc., and physical will lead to decreased turnover. Duration and intensity of stress. Period of stress is very important for job performance and satisfaction. Stress can be either temporary or long-term, mild or severe, mostly depending on how long it causes, how strong they are, and how strong the employee's recovery powers are. If stress is temporary and mild, most people can handle it or at least recover from it rather quickly. The optimal stress levels are different for different individuals. Each person can understand and determine how functional stress is for him or her to operate in a productive way. At low levels of stress, performance is reduced to the lowest level, then gradually the stress starts to rise and reaches the optimum level. The performance is also increased, and high levels of stress, performance start reducing and reaches a very low level. Determinants of stress. Conditions that are responsible for causing stress are typically combined to create stressful pressures. An employee takes action in several ways until stress develops and counteracts the strategy. Employees may react to these stresses by either positive or negative stress, which can result in personal as well as constructive or disastrous results. The determinants of stress are discussed below. Personality characteristics. An important factor contributing to the stress level of an employee is the personality of the person himself. It builds stress to such a level that someone can attempt suicide. A very competitive man would be in a situation in which he threatened the most by someone who is not competitive. This competitive person lives under time pressure and worry about lack of time. but there are those who capture some personality ambiguity, predict high tolerance for self-esteem, etc., and handle high levels of stress effectively. A high degree of tolerance ambiguity allows individuals to experience much less suffering, while having insufficient information or working in an uncertain condition. Role conflicted is the simultaneous occurrence of two or more sets of pressures that would be more difficult compliance. Role conflict is more for employees who are not given proper workspace, work instructions by higher officials. It is quite likely that those in the role experience some inconsistency between the two who have expectations from their role. Although conditions may not be antagonistic, the person may perceive them as incompatible and may suffer from ambiguous conditions. Role ambiguity due to lack of information. A role holder experiences this situation due to lack of understanding of the clues available to him or her. In some organizations, role holders do not have enough information about what they are expected to do, and specifically how they will have to do a task. As a result, they are subjugated by the role. Role occupants have no choice but are left to ponder what should be done next. Too much role ambiguity may be the cause of psychological and physical complaints. Therefore, role ambiguity is the most powerful stress. Role overload. At this stage, role occupants are faced with a set of obligations that require them to do more than they are able to do within the available time. The employer's expectations can be bombarded, which he ultimately cannot cope with. People suffer from lack of time and many activities, called qualitative and quantitative stress. When workers understand job responsibilities beyond their capabilities, so that there is less time left for their friends and families, they are exhausted completely after finishing work. In this situation, the employee is both physically and mentally disturbed. Role erosion. The act of removing sand particles by the river is called the river erosion. In the same way, when employees feel that something is being done that should really have been related to them, it can be overcome with stress and tension. If there are some tasks and role feels stressful to the person he or she wants to perform, role stagnation. The most dangerous aspect in the workplace is the lack of dull work, due to which some people develop a strong contradiction to their jobs in the organization, but the secondary working conditions are sometimes so favorable that people stick to them involuntarily with satisfaction from their jobs. There is promotion here which automatically creates stress. Role incompatibility. This creates an agreement between a person and a job environment. It depends on personal abilities and possibilities presented by the jobber. If there is no coordination between the person and the environment, job, then the stress and tension of the employee will be cause for physical and emotional harm. Self-role distance. People experience tension between the role and the self, indicating how far the role is integrated with itself. When a person living in a role does not enjoy a particular role or does not join it, the distance between the self and the role is increased. Self-role distance indicates conflict between the self-concept and the predictable role play from the actual role. Scientific developments. The mechanized system has developed rapidly in all areas, so many employees were fired from their jobs. Not only due to this mechanized system, but also the operation of such technical development is very difficult to understand. And it requires fresh training. Some level of adaptation will be necessary and may involve stress responses. Interpersonal and group factors. However, the role of the personnel suffers from any of the above stresses, is also not free from this stress. This includes factors such as conflicts, unpleasant relationships, and poor communication with the group. Working between the attentive eyes of the seniors or keeping pace with them that no one supports can be a source of stress. Although some people, however, have tolerance for such conflicts and misunderstandings, the majority find it difficult to cope with such situations and create internal tensions. When faced with an environment of poor communication and unpleasant relationships, individuals try to avoid the stresses of being absent as often as possible or start working for other organizations that can leave the organization or even take voluntary retirement. Nature of the job. The nature of the work performed by the person can often cause stress. If a job is too routine, sluggish, and bored or may be demanding in the context of continuous travel, frequent transfers on attainment goals, that may limit the time spent together with the family. The person is likely to experience stress. Some jobs can also be dangerous or if morally conflicting for the person. People working in an explosive or bomb deactivating factory, or if people feel there is a lack of cordial relations exist, or if the work calls for heavy workload and exhaust. An employee may become stressed after working in such a case. Workers in this area may be forced to live, which can be a constant source of severe stress and suffering. Organizational structural factors. However, the above stresses can be avoided in one way or another. This condition will have to be spared with the occupant in the role. Environmental factors such as noise, heat, malfunction, light, radiation, and smoke are the inducing agents. Poor light causes headaches and poor eyesight leads to mistakes. Sometimes a person may be forced to work with a noisy environment, which can not only cause obstruction, but may also interfere with the hearing of the occupant. Insufficient resources such as time, space, human power, money, material, can lead to further stress. Pay scale and promotion. Salary and promotions are considered important factors. Passion not only helps people to meet their basic needs but also plays an important role in the need to provide upper-level satisfaction. Fringe benefits are also necessary, but they are not as effective. In addition, many numbers of promotions take place. Promotions are past performance and recognition awards. Promotion will definitely move towards a positive change in work in which responsibility can be increased for people. When these benefits are denied, and an employee is deprived of all the blessings that may come from the worksite, then automatically it disturbs the employee and creates tension, frustration, fatigue, and anxiety. Interpersonal relations stress may be unacceptable, or as a result of feelings of discrimination by friends. Co-workers are the most modest source of peaceful support, comfort, advise and assist the individual worker. Makes a good work group do more enjoyable work. On the other hand, if reverse conditions exist, people are difficult to associate with. So an effective working group is needed, where is no fear, tension, and confusion, which affects the performance of the worker. Decreased motivation. If workers are less motivated or not motivated through their monetary or non-monetary base, they lack the enthusiasm towards the work and become sleepy and inactive. And they don't give their best for their organization. In this situation, worker will feel neglected, lose interest, become aggressive and engage in all kinds of unwanted activities. Physiological needs. Man lives by bread. If a man who is extremely and dangerously hungry, no other interest exists except food for a hungry man. He dreams for food, he don't remembers housing facilities, he didn't thinks of clothes, don't wants to meet the needs like freedom, love, community, feelings, respect, philosophy, sexual behavior, etc. He only want food. A person who lacks food, he will be too stressed with clothes, social, personal and material benefits, safety, love, and respect, anything else, when he will be not hungry. Absence of social support. Relationships with others, both at home and at work, are often important for the well-being of a worker. It places high demands on social skills. There should be good relations between the employee and the family, employee and the people around his/her, and management. When the individual is placed in an awkward, irritable position, he/she should receive the support of the society along with the collaborators. Social support can be monetary and non-monetary support. When the person grapples with the severe effects of stress, he or she must require the social support to manage the stress. Thank you friends for watching. For more management study and latest world news, visit our website usaeservice.com. Please like, subscribe and share our YouTube channel.